el show para todos, para la comunidad, con la comunidad, de la comunidad. Muy bienvenidos. Muy buenos días el día de hoy. ¿Cómo están todos? Bienvenidos aquí al show de Ni de aquí ni de allá en la radio de estación de Amigos de Seattle. Aquí la radio non-profit de la comunidad de South Park, desde Georgetown. Mandarles un muy fuerte saludo a todos los que nos están viendo el día de hoy. Muy buenos días. Hoy 15 de junio. ah, en este día tan bonito que creo que quiere salir el sol un rato, ¿no? Con esta lluvia que hemos tenido, ya esperamos el sol. Bueno, bienvenidos el día de hoy. Nos estamos conectando aquí a través de Facebook Live, a través de YouTube, estamos en la radio en vivo en adsradio.org. Entonces, denos un like, denos un follow y ahí hoy tenemos una invitada muy especial el día de hoy. Está llegando un poquito tarde, pero ya viene en camino y ahorita la introducimos aquí el día de hoy. Y también a ver si me perdonan un ratito porque estoy solo, me dejaron solito aquí el día de hoy. Y pues estamos viendo cómo funciona todo esto. Voy a tener que abrir la puerta cuando lleguen y voy a tener que aquí controlar todo. Entonces les pido un poquito de paciencia y ahorita vamos empezando. Pero mientras estamos empezando, si nos hacen un favor, si nos están viendo, nos están siguiendo, denle un like, compartan con sus amigos para que ya aquí nos vayamos live en Facebook. A ver, aquí yo en mi face le voy a poner About to Go Live. Amigos de Seattle Radio Live. Muchas gracias y espero que todos se encuentren muy bien el día de hoy. No sé si vieron ayer, ganaron los Sounders, mis queridos Sounders, 4-0 contra Vancouver. Qué buen partidazo fue. Para los que lograron ir o los que no han podido ir, ahí los invitamos para que se unen ahí con la barra Fuerza Verde. A ver, ya estamos en vivo aquí en directo desde el Facebook Live y tenemos ahorita un seguidor, creo que soy yo. Pero ahorita se van a empezar a conectar. Qué bueno, qué bueno. Pues sí, espero, como les menciono, el día de hoy estamos empezando un poquito diferente. Estamos aquí tratando de ver cómo controlamos todo desde la cabina. Ahorita que llegue nuestra invitada voy a tener que poner pausa, ir a abrir la puerta. Entonces les pido si nos un poquito de paciencia y aquí creo que veo que también en la radio ya tenemos algunos que nos están escuchando en la radio en vivo en adsradio.org. Si nos quieren escuchar desde su plataforma móvil pueden seguirnos ahí en adsradio.org o aquí a través de Facebook Live, YouTube Live, aquí todos estamos conectados. Si tienen alguna pregunta, alguna sugerencia, algún comentario, aquí pueden poner su comentario y podemos compartirlo aquí con los invitados y interactuar en vivo. Saludos, ¿cómo están todos el día de hoy? Qué bueno de tenerlos aquí. Tenemos una invitada muy especial, nuestra buena amiga Roxana Pardo Garcia, que va a venir a compartir un poco sobre los proyectos que está haciendo en la comunidad, pero ya viene en camino, se quedó atorada, se le abrió el puente ahí en la primera y está ahorita atorada en el tráfico, pero ahorita ya nos va a acompañar y va a estar aquí con nosotros. Pero mientras quería empezar a compartir, hay eventos muy buenos en la comunidad que se van a venir ya que estamos, el sol está queriendo salir a veces como que quiere, a veces como que no, pero ya estamos ahí, ya se viene el verano. A ver, ¿qué tenemos aquí para nuestros amigos en Linwood, Washington? Vamos a tener el Festival Afro Latino este 16 de julio de 12 a 7. Va a haber comida, va a haber música. Qué evento muy bonito se escucha. Ahí en Linwood, Washington, este 16 de julio. A ver si ahí los vemos para ir a disfrutar un poco de la cultura afro-latino, que tenemos muchos amigos aquí en el Pacific Northwest, aquí en Seattle. Muchos conocidos, mucha familia ahí que están organizando aquí el evento del Afro Latino Festival el 16 de julio. ¿Qué más tenemos aquí? Tenemos el Festival Centroamericano que viene de regreso este agosto 28, el domingo agosto 28, aquí mero en South Park, en el centro comunitario de South Park. Ahí también igual música, comida, todo lo que me encanta. Entonces esperamos verlos ahí, en el Festival Centroamericano de Seattle. Y también otro evento muy especial que ya viene muy pronto, que a mí me encantó cuando lo vi la primera vez y me va a encantar cuando regrese de nuevo sábado o el domingo, perdón, 26 de junio, creo que ya se viene como en 2 semanas, ¿no? Ya mero, ya mero. La Guelaguetza, aquí en Seattle. Vengan a disfrutar de las bellas culturas, diferentes culturas, diversas culturas de Oaxaca. Tenemos aquí los amigos que organizan la Guelaguetza en Seattle. No, este sí, de veras, es uno de mis eventos muy favoritos. La vez pasada no me tocó el mole, llegué muy tarde. Entonces, para que se pónganse las pilas y lleguen temprano porque ojalá haya comida, porque la vez pasada sí se les acabó el mole y no me tocó. Pero está bien. Ahí para la otra. Ahí luego me invitan a un molito, ¿no? También aquí nuestros amigos de Somos Seattle están organizando el Seattle Latinx Pride el sábado 16 de julio. Igual aquí el otro evento, el Afro Latino Festival, pero este va a ser aquí en Seattle, Washington, en el Centro de la Raza, en la Plaza Roberto Maestas. Ahí también los esperamos para que vayamos a ver diferentes eventos, actividades. Creo que va a haber un drag show. La vez pasada por lo menos hubo uno. A ver si otra vez hacen similar. El Seattle Latinx Pride el sábado 16 de julio. Y también un preview a la semana que viene. Aquí vamos a tener a nuestro buen amigo Judas y Fuentes. Vamos a tener el invitado especial el siguiente miércoles 22 de junio. Aquí en la estación de radio Amigos de Seattle Radio, en el show Ni de Aquí ni de Allá. Vamos a tener a nuestro invitado especial, Judas y Fuentes, que él también está haciendo así su plataforma en línea. Está promoviendo su música, su arte, en su programa de Bohemia y Despapalle, para que aprendamos de él, escuchemos su historia como inmigrante también y cómo se está creciendo su plataforma en línea. Él está en TikTok, está en Instagram, está en Facebook, y también queremos aprender de esas experiencias, ¿no? Entonces aquí esperamos a nuestro buen amigo Judas y Fuentes aquí la semana que viene, el miércoles 22 de junio. Va a ser nuestro invitado especial. Pero por el momento creo que vamos a tomar una breve pausa mientras esperamos aquí a nuestra amiga Roxana que vaya llegando. Le voy a tener que ir a abrir la puerta. Entonces les pido un poquito de paciencia. Creo que ahí está Irene. Hola, hola, hola. Si me pueden escuchar, aquí estamos probando el audio. Denos un like en el Facebook o un comentario si nos pueden escuchar. Gracias, Rebeca. Aquí nos están mandando un saludo, Rebeca Rocha. Saludos, nuestra invitada de la semana pasada. Muchas gracias por el apoyo. Y aquí probando, ya estamos de regreso. Tenemos aquí, como les mencioné, el día de hoy estoy aquí solito. Me dejaron solito, ¿creen? Y tengo que abrir la puerta, tengo que hacer el lado. Entonces estamos aprendiendo aquí mientras lo hacemos, ¿no? Pero gracias a todos los que nos están siguiendo, todos los que nos están viendo en vivo, aquí en Facebook Live, en YouTube, y a través de la estación de radio Amigos de Seattle Radio, adsradio.org, o si nos están viendo en la grabación en otros días o al rato. Pero aquí, bienvenida, mi buena amiga, nuestra Citizen of the Year de la ciudad de Buren, ¿no? Roxana Pardo García, ¿cómo estás?
Hola, José, buenas tardes a todos que están sintonizando. Gracias por la invitación, gracias por tenerme aquí y chismear un rato aquí contigo.
¿Verdad? No, gracias a ti.
Y compartir un poco sobre lo que estamos haciendo en la comunidad.
Qué bueno, no, pues muchas gracias por aceptar aquí la invitación. Yo sé que algunos de nuestros seguidores te han mencionado, me han dicho, tienes que invitar a Roxana. Y les dije, de una, ahí le hicimos, te mandé el mensaje. Y muchas gracias por venir aquí en el show a compartir sobre tu historia, sobre los proyectos que estás haciendo y compartir aquí con la comunidad un poco, ¿no? Cómo motivarnos, cómo dar ejemplos del buen trabajo que se está haciendo en la comunidad, ¿no?
Sí, claro. Para eso estamos, para eso estamos.
Sí, pues bienvenida Roxana, y para los que no te han tenido el honor de conocerte primero, dinos, ¿quién eres? Roxana, ¿quién es Roxana? Bienvenida.
¿Quién es? Pues Roxana nació en un domingo. No se crean. Mi nombre es Roxana Pardo García. Mi madre es Hilda Pardo, viene de Leticia Tafoya Ríos, que ella viene de Consuelo Ríos. Nomás quiero reconocer las mujeres que han proveído el legado, mi legado, y a las que estoy conectada. Y nací y crecí aquí en el noroeste. Me crié en Burien desde los 5 años, y desde esos 5 años he estado ahí. Me fui a la universidad, me gradué de la Highline High School en Burien, y luego cuando salí de ahí me fui a la Universidad de Washington, de pura chiripada, como dicen.
I know, right?
No sé cómo fue que me aceptaron, pero me aceptaron y duré 5 años ahí. Y salí y regresé a mi comunidad, y la primera pregunta que hice es cómo me puedo involucrar con mi comunidad. Ya que regresé, tengo tengo este papelito que me dice que soy inteligente. Y regresé y empecé a involucrarme poco a poco en diferentes agencias, diferentes iniciativas, campañas. Pues tengo más de 16 años trabajando en la comunidad desde que estoy en la high school, que ando de chismosa por ahí en las calles, tratando de organizar y proveer servicios y recursos a la comunidad. Y durante la pandemia me lancé como entrepreneur de tiempo completo.
Emprendedora.
Emprendedora
Aquí tenemos
de tiempo
una emprendedora
completo.
de la comunidad. Qué
Y
bueno.
parte de esa pequeña empresa nació un programa que se llama Alimentando al Pueblo, que ahora es ya su propia agencia.
Wow.
Entonces, tengo mucho que celebrar los últimos 2 años, los últimos 3 años más bien, que han sido un tiempo súper difícil para nuestra comunidad, pero afortunadamente me encontré en un lugar para poder pausar y crear y innovar en un tiempo bien difícil para nuestra comunidad.
Sí, no, trabajo muy, 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 muy importante. Y sí, una vecina, colega de la ciudad de Buren, también producto de Buren aquí, orgulloso, aunque yo me gradué de la Evergreen, entonces ahí hay un poco de rivalry, ¿no?
No nos vamos a echar lucha libre ahorita, José.
No, eso lo dejamos para otro día. Pero también UW Go Huskies, qué bueno, otro producto orgulloso de la Universidad de Washington aquí. Pues qué bonito ver cómo las generaciones han tenido más acceso a la educación, ¿no? A la alta educación, porque sí, me acuerdo, nuestros padres tal vez no tuvieron esas oportunidades. Entonces, qué bueno que aquí están viendo 2 ejemplos que estamos sobresaliendo adelante. We're trying to thrive in this society, right? In this environment.
Yeah, and if anybody from UW is listening, give us some money, because we're out here repping you all and giving you all a good reputation.
Yeah.
So, take care of us.
Yeah, where's that alumni association? We'll hit them up later. Pero sí, no, gracias por estar aquí, gracias por compartir con nosotros. Y algo que les pregunto a todos mis invitados es, el nombre del show aquí es Ni de aquí ni de allá. Y yo sé que a cada uno tenemos una interpretación diferente, ¿no? We each have our own meaning of what ni de aquí ni de allá means. I mean, we saw it in a movie in Selena, we've seen it in media, but para ti, Roxana, ¿qué quiere decir ser ni de aquí ni de allá?
Cuando estaba en la Universidad de Washington, fue cuando I did a deep dive into like this Chicana and Chicano like identity. And I do identify as Chicana when people understand what it means. It's not like something I just throw around, loosely. And when I think about that, I think about Gloria Anzaldúa and her philosophy around the borderlands, that we're a borderland people. And this idea that like we have so many different identities that we hold within us, right? There's like a part in her Nuevo Mestizaje book where she talks about like the Indian is pushing up against the European, and the European is pushing up against the American, and the American is pushing up against the Mexican. Like there's so many layers to our identity.
So true.
Like, and the thing is that we think about ni de aquí ni de allá in this binary, like this either or, but it's like so much. It's so much more than the either or, right?
Yeah.
And so, my family's from Michoacán, my family's from Mexico, and I was born here. And I think about like how my culture just flows from one to the other, right? I've gotten to a place where they don't have tension, because I feel like in my own personal journey, I'm just like, I understand my identity a lot better. So it's more of a flow versus like a rigidity that exists, And so that's what I think about when I think about this term, ni de aquí ni de allá. It's just like the ways in which we flow between our identities, and all of them,
Yeah. No, and that's beautiful, and I'm so glad to hear that you're flowing in that, and you're getting to live your full self, right? We're getting to live our full selves, and yeah, just that popped a question in my mind. Do you think it's partly because the Pacific Northwest is such a sometimes open space, not all the times, but sometimes I think, at least for my family, this is where we really got to settle in. And at least I got to find out my self identity. And that's why, ni de aquí ni de allá, because I never feel fully American, but I also never feel fully Mexican, right? And that duality that sometimes we play, that code switching we do from time to time. But being here in the Pacific Northwest, here in Seattle, right, I think it's giving us a lot of freedom, a lot of support to identify where maybe generations before us, even speaking Spanish was really,
Yeah.
you could really get hurt just by speaking your own language, which is not our mother tongue, but
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I think like the really cool thing about like and that's what said like I rep the Northwest hard. Like I rep Burien.
Yeah.
Like I'm proud to be a Chicana, Latina, Chingona from the Pacific Northwest.
That's
Like
right, yeah.
that is the front and center of like my identity. And so one of the things that I know that causes people to not be so in love in the way that I am with their identity from being here is that they don't see their culture, right? But to me, I see that as an opportunity to build and to create and to innovate and to look at other places where we have historically been and been like, what are they doing that's cool and what's working there? And what can we do to like bring some of that here? And like, I think it's really awesome that like I get to grow up in a community where I get to build something, like it wasn't, yeah, it would have been cool if it was built for me, but I probably would have beefed with it and been like, I don't like it, but like I get to build from like my imagination, and that's really empowering.
There
Like,
you go, yeah.
it's not the imagination of like people who were alive 50 years ago, it's mine.
Yeah.
It's the imagination of of the people who currently live and exist,
Right.
So I think to me that's what's really cool about being here in the Northwest is yes, we've been here for generations, but in terms of kind of like solidifying as an identity, as a community, we've seen it in the past like 10 years, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of like Chicanidad, Latinidad existed at the academic level at UW. If you look at the history of Chicanos in the Pacific Northwest, it was relegated to the institution. And now we're at a point in our like collective history where like, how do we get that into community?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it's really dope it's an honor really to be a part of the stewards of being able to like, let's get it out of the academy and get it into community.
Right. No, and that's so key. You're right, because oftentimes these institutions of power are the ones that gatekeep at times, right? Or hold all the resources. Where the reality, the needs are actually out in the streets, in the community. So it's beautiful to see that those words in action through your work, right? Being able to build, being able to think creatively, being able to innovate in these spaces that historically, traditionally haven't been for us, haven't been made for us. So it's our time to build our own systems. Just like this show, like I'm like, this is a great example too of how we're creating platforms to tell these stories, to promote the work that's doing and support each other in this, because that's what it is. It's about building community with each other, right?
Yeah.
And I know when I met you, I think the first time I met you was at one of the city council meetings in Buren, right? When there was a lot of friction between conservatives and progressives and whatnot, and all that political drama was going down when Trump first got elected, right? But community showed up, and that's what it takes. It's people showing up, stepping up and saying, yes, I see something, I see a problem, I see an issue, or I see an opportunity to do something cool, do something creative. Let's do it. And you're a great example of that, right? So tell us a little bit more about that. You're an entrepreneur, so what's your company? What's your business? What's your thing?
I will say that like my business name started off as a joke and then it kind of stuck.
That's the best way to do it.
So I have La Roxy Productions, which is basically a firm, a small boutique firm that focuses on elevating the experiences of people of color, and telling the stories of the hood and amplifying the hood and honoring the hood and hood scholarship, and also and sharing knowledge, right? So what people would call services is what I call knowledge sharing, because I'm sharing the knowledge that I've acquired through many years of this work and being here on Earth. And so I do events and I do a lot of consulting and public speaking and workshops and trainings and all sorts of things. And it's like it's not like one day I woke up and I was like, I want to be an entrepreneur, you know, like this was something that organically happened. And one of the way that I tell the origin story of La Roxy Productions, that is, it started because I was angry.
Oh,
I was angry
okay.
because like I didn't see educators who looked like me. I didn't see art in my school that looked like me. I didn't see things in the community that represented me. And so it's like it started from this anger, and I was just like, I don't want the younger generations to grow up not seeing that, not feeling that, and feeling like they don't belong. Again, that like not feeling proud to be from here,
Yeah.
you know. And so it comes from that anger, like anger really fueling this innovation and trying to do something different. And so, yeah, so right now, a bulk of my work, a lot of my work is just consulting. And so I work a lot with King County and also the city of Burien and a couple other different government entities. And I get to travel and speak
Nice.
to different crowds.
That's the coolest, right?
That's the coolest. So I'm hoping to travel more for speaking engagements. That's like really where I come alive, is in those areas. And then this summer, I teamed up with my homegirl, Queen Case, who's a DJ. And we are doing a series of day parties in the summer.
Nice.
So we know that before the pandemic happened, I was throwing cumbiatons, and cumbiatons are,
I
for those
remember
of you
those. Those were a lot of
gone,
fun.
Ya saben cómo se pone.
It's a party, let me tell you.
It's a party, and we still don't feel safe bringing that many people together indoors, because the max that we've ever gotten in there was like 800 people. And we know if we launch it again, it's only going to be more.
Yeah.
So we're like, let's just hold off for a little bit. So these day parties will be outside. They will be every Sunday in July from
Nice.
12 to 4. And there's like La Catrina and El Sirenito in Georgetown have this like shared patio in the back.
Right.
So we're going to be hosting the parties there. There'll be tacos del pastor from El
Tacos, I'm there.
Tronco.
That's
You know
all you
what I'm
needed to
saying?
say.
Yeah, there'll be tacos, there'll be drinks, there'll be some really amazing DJs from the Northwest.
Nice.
Just all like black and brown DJs from the Northwest. So I'm really excited to bring this to the community, because they've been asking for it. And
Yeah.
also, like, we just need to dance.
Yeah, no,
We
and
just
that's
need
so
to
cool.
dance.
And honestly, what you're building there is such a beautiful space, because it's not just a night to party, right? It's like we've all been clubbing at some point or another.
Mm-hmm.
We know what that's like. But what you're making, it's not just that, but like you're bringing vendors, local Latinx vendors,
Mm-hmm.
right, to promote the local economy. You're promoting art. You're promoting culture. You're creating a safe space for people just to enjoy life, right?
Yeah.
And that's beautiful.
Yeah,
That is beautiful.
Yeah, it was really cool, because when we were doing cumbiatons, I got so like, I remember this one girl came up to me and she was like crying, and she just was like, thank you so much, and I just was like, oh my god, like I do things because I enjoy them and they're fun, and
Yeah.
because I mean there is a lot of intention that gets put into creating events, because like you said, like I'm trying to, it's like my homeboy Hugo says, he's like, Roxana, these events are economic drivers. Like over the course of the 2 years that we did Cumbiaton, we probably reinvested $80,000 back into local economies.
Oh,
Like $80,000. And who, like, you put that number out there and you would try to raise it and you'd be like, this is impossible. But we
Right.
did it in 2 years, effortlessly.
it's
truly,
possible, yeah.
you know? And so there's like that piece. There's that like, okay, like we're reinvesting, but we're also like building with intention, right? Because like people deserve safe places to be themselves, whoever they are,
Right.
right? And I think one of the beautiful things about Cumbiaton and the events that I've gotten the honor to like host is that it's everybody from community. Like it's everybody, ves de todo.
Yeah.
You know, like I remember my mom would go to Cumbiatons.
That's right, yeah.
She'd be chilling there, right? And she's like, yeah, nomás como bailan. Yeah, nomás quién está bailando con quién. And she just was like, this is awesome. You know, like I could never just share that with my mom and have her understand. Like she had to see it. She had to
Yeah.
be there to like be like, this is awesome. Like, and she loved it. And
Yeah,
we
yeah.
had so many moms go to Cumbiaton.
No, I had a great time. So if you haven't had a chance to check out one of La Roxy's productions events here, I definitely recommend it. Recommended by Ni de Aquí Ni de Allá. You heard it here first.
Yes.
But tell me, you mentioned something earlier that you didn't start thinking about being an entrepreneur, right? It wasn't like something you were thinking. And that reminds me, I remember my very first community college class. I had no idea what I was doing, but it was a general business 101 class. They were talking about CEOs, CFOs, IPOs, and it literally felt like Charlie Brown. You seen that Charlie Brown movie where the teacher's like,
Yep.
wah, wah, wah. That was me. I was like, what is this person talking about it in the book. I was like, what is this stuff? Like many years later, now I'm like, oh, I want to be a CEO with a CFO and an IPO. Right now, I'm talking that language, but that language was so foreign to me at the time. And yeah, a lot of people don't start with that, like thinking like, yeah, I want to build a business, right? I want to do all. So how was that journey? Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Like that shift into starting to call yourself as an entrepreneur. How did that click?
Yeah. So I think like I want to preface it with like the work that so many of us do is so sacred, right? Like the work that you, myself, like other entrepreneurs that I know, executive directors, like the work that we do is ancestral. Like we were given a responsibility and we chose to take it.
Right.
Because we could choose to be like, nah, I don't want to do this.
We've all made that choice at a lot of times too, right?
You know? And so like, I think we've been giving a responsibility and we have to steward that responsibility with care and diligence, right? And so I say that because we are operating within the context of colonialism. We are operating within this context of institutions, of systems. In order to be recognized by those institutions and to play by the games, you have to apply to like your business license or your nonprofit status or like your C Corp or like all these things that exist in this realm, right? All that to say is just that like this business and these titles are just so people out there in the world can understand my work.
Right. We're learning the rules of the game to play the game, right?
Yeah, you know, I'm just like, because this business and these titles can't contain the essence of what we're trying to do.
So true.
You know, they can't contain the spirit of the work that we're moving forward. And so like, I say that because like, I think it's healthy to be like, to have tension with the systems that we're involved in. Right?
Yeah. We're always, especially those of us that exist outside of the systems. Naturally, there's tension.
And this is the ni de aquí ni de allá piece.
Exactly.
Right? That we have this tension. We're just like, again, it's not just being Mexican American. It's about like, there are colonial cultures that play, and then there's like anti-colonial cultures that we're trying to like implement, right? And so I think that's all that to say that like, it was really organic. Like, I remember it was like, because I incorporated formally in 2018 as a business, but I was doing like random workshops, public speaking events, like since I graduated from UW in 2013. So for 5 years, people were like, hey, do you want to come do this? Or hey, and I was like, yeah, sure. And then somebody was like, I think it was actually Hugo, our friend Hugo, was like, hey, you should really consider getting your business license. Like you just even if you're not doing it full time, like it's just a good thing to have. It's
a good vehicle to do these
Mm-hmm.
activities, expenses, things. I'm learning all this as I'm building my business right now.
You know, and like there's like liability and things that you got to also take into account.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I should probably do this. So in 2018, I formally incorporated, and then things were happening. I was not making a lot of revenue just because it was just convierton in these one-off events that I was having. And then the pandemic hit in 2020, and I was working at a place I didn't want to work at, and I was really dissatisfied. And also, like, I was like, is this where my community needs me? Like, is this where, like, I can use my gifts to the benefit of my community? Like, that was a big question at the beginning of the pandemic, because I was like, I'm not in my community right now. I'm actually working for an institution that's taking me away from being able to be in my community.
I could definitely relate to that, but that's a story for another day.
Yeah, shout out to the same employer, huh? And so I think that like, I was like, I need to, and I just felt it in my soul. I was like, okay, there's a transition coming. Like, start saying your goodbyes, like start, planting the seeds.
Did you hear your ancestors speaking to you?
Yeah, and I was just like, okay. So then I finally submitted my letter of resignation at the end of June, and I was like, I'm out at the middle of July. And then I jumped, and then the safety net appeared.
Nice. Oh, that's beautiful.
And that's where Alimentando al Pueblo grew.
Oh, my God. That's beautiful. Before we get into Alimentando al Pueblo, one thing I really just wanted to highlight is that example of you don't need to start knowing how to run a business. You don't need, it's helpful. It really, and at some point you do need to learn your basic accounting, basic business license, like insurance stuff. But to start it, to initiate it, right? You just need the ganas, right? You just need that motivation to just go out there and try something new. And that's kind of the message I want to share with everybody, that, if you have an idea, if you have a passion for something, there's so many opportunities out there. There's examples that people have done it in the past, right? There's more and more examples that look like us now, right? We're part of that. We're setting that pathway for more people to follow, and that's beautiful. That we're creating these spaces, we're creating these opportunities, we're sharing this knowledge that oftentimes historically has been kept away from us, right? We're learning how to play this system. So that's just a beautiful example that what you just shared about. You just jumped in that safety net was there. Your community was there, right? Your people, your gente was there to catch you. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So shout out to the gente who caught me.
Yeah, no, that's great.
And who really truly allowed me to do this full time.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like if you would have told 14-year-old me that this was gonna be me, like I'd be like, you crazy. Like what? That doesn't make any, not in my wildest dreams.
Yeah.
You know, and it wasn't like it was a goal. Like I want to be a full-time entrepreneur. Like my goal was I want to live a happy life. I want to not be stressed. I want to be healthy.
Right.
Like I want to do what I want, you
Yeah.
know? And it came in the form of this business and this nonprofit.
Yeah. But it's not easy, right? It takes work, dedication, sweat, tears. Let me tell you, yeah.
Yes.
It takes all of that. But at the end of the day, it's worth it. Definitely worth it.
Yep.
Yeah, and then the other project you got. Well, before, sorry, I forgot to mention, you have a speaker series coming up, right?
I do. So I partner with Communities of Opportunity at King County for a speaker series that is going to run from this month all the way until October. And so it's called Grounded. And it's going to be talking about, we're going to be amplifying some of the folks who are doing some really amazing work around young people, communities of faith, but like new economies, and a couple other things that we got going on. So I'm really excited for that one. We did it last year and it was really successful. So now we're back for round 2 with COO to do this. So tomorrow's the first one. It's called Grounded in Belief.
Nice.
And we have Pastor Lena Thompson, who's a really amazing partner in Berean, and also Sheikh Adam from MAPS, which is the Muslim Association of Puget Sound, who's going to be coming.
Nice.
And we're going to be talking about how places of worship, places of faith, can be places of transformation in our community, right?
Especially within our community, right? I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not that religious as I grew up, but faith is still a big part of my culture. La Virgencita, right? Or Mother. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a whole different episode right there. Just talk about our relationship with faith in the Latinx community, in the iconography. But yeah, with that, I think that's beautiful that you're creating that space, that opportunity to have those conversations.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of family is deeply connected with the church, with the faith, and that plays a big role in our community. So it's good to bring these conversations to those spaces too.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So I'm excited. It's going to be a fire conversation. I'm excited
Nice.
to hear from both of them to really motivate, these places of worship and places of faith to just like be catalysts for transformation.
Yeah.
They have resources, they have buildings, they have networks. Like, in order, the fight for liberation is not just a singular fight. Like, we all got to be in this. And so, yeah.
So let me just share real quick your website here for folks that want to learn more about what's going on with La Roxy Productions or hire her for a guest speaking gig.
Yeah.
We
What's
got
up, cheese me, y'all?
Yeah. Visit laroxy.com to learn more about La Roxy Productions. Definitely a great resource in our community doing some amazing things. But over to the next thing that you got going on. We also got Alimentando el Pueblo. You're like super busy, aren't you? When do you sleep? That's my
I sleep
question.
minimum 8 hours a night, and I take naps throughout the day. So
Nice.
please know that my sleep is not
Okay,
impacted by this.
good. I was worried for a second, but yeah. What's your other project you got going on here?
So yes, Alimentando el Pueblo, I mentioned that it started as a project under my business, and it started as a collaboration between 5 nonprofits and my small business. And so before I get into like naming them, the idea from this came like in April of 2020. And I was listening to my tía que estaba hablando con mi mamá y le estaba comentando que quería ir al banco de comida porque necesitaba alimentos, pero que no quería ir porque no le daban comida que ella sabía utilizar. O le daban y lo regalaban. O ya estaba expirado, o caducado, o estaba dañada la comida. So I just like, when she said that, I just remember this memory of when I went to when I used to go to food banks and having the very exact same experience. And I was just like, why is there not a Latino food bank?
Why? Yeah.
Like,
Why?
I just was like, why isn't there like a food bank that gives people the food that they eat? Like, why don't we have that? You know? So I called Lena, Pastor Lena at the church, and I said, hey, do you have room at the church for us to come in and have a space? She's like, yep. And they were already hosting a distribution, so they already had the setup.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
So we're just like, dope. We just got to come in, make our boxes, and then, do what they've been
Nice.
doing. Then I called Virginia para los niños, and she's like, yep. I'll send you some volunteers.
Nice.
I called Heather Hallman, who was at New Futures at the time, and I said, what do you think? They're like, yep, let's do this. She sent over some volunteers and money, and their staff to write grants for us.
Nice.
And then I called Colectiva, and Colectiva was like, yep, let's do it. Here's some money. And then the White Center CDA, they were like, yep, let's do this. And of course, La Roxy Productions as like the convener of like all of these nonprofits. And so we launched in July. And Jose, when I tell you that like the first meeting we had, I remember we were standing in a circle with like, it was, so the model was founded by 5 women. Me, my mom, Hilda Pardo, Patricia Palomino, Sandra Simara, and Asusana Cejas. And we were standing in a circle at the church, and we're like, how do we want to do this? Like, how do we want to, like, what do we want to put in the boxes? Like, we just were, like, going through all of the scenarios, and I remember being like, what did I get myself into? I was like, I don't know how to do any of this. I was like, food? Where do I get food, And thankfully, we developed a really beautiful relationship with La Señora Olga, who was the manager at La Canasta.
Oh,
so
yeah.
she was our partner in sourcing all of our food for
That's
us.
dope. Using local resources right there. Beautiful.
And so what ended up happening was that we launched our program, and then a grant was released through the county that they were giving out money for culturally relevant foods. And I was like, us.
Check.
We applied, and we got almost $300,000.
Oh, dope.
And that's when Colectiva Legal became our fiscal sponsor. And so we got $300,000 to build out our program, a 10-week program, 200 boxes of food each week, 100 through delivery, 100 through curbside.
Wow.
We had a team of 32 people that helped run the show, and we got so much media attention. We got like 11 different articles, videos, like featuring our work. And and I was like, oh, this is serious. Oh, this is real.
You're doing it, yeah.
I was like, okay, so this is not just something that's gonna die after this. Like this, oh, okay. Got it. So that's kind of like how it started, as like, again, I never thought that it would be its own nonprofit. I literally was like, let's just do this, and then
there you go.
help
Las
our
ganas.
community.
Las ganas were there. And
Yeah.
the need was there. And you did it.
And one thing that I recently learned a couple of months ago is that we're the only Latino food bank in the country.
Yeah.
Like,
wow.
and it's not like I woke up and was like, I want to establish the only Latino food bank in the country. Like, I was like, I want to make sure my community feels seen during this time. Like Latinos no bajan de las tasas de COVID. Like, if you look at the COVID, like the statistics around COVID, like Latinos have remained at number 2 the entire pandemic.
Yeah.
We are number 2 in confirmed cases, number 2 in hospitalizations per case, and in deaths per case. Like, no bajamos.
Yeah.
No, and I'm just
crazy.
like, and I'm like, and then of course there's the pandemic, and está el legado de racismo, de clasismo, de machismo, like all these things, right? And so to me, like, so when I say that we're the only food bank, what that means is that, like, one, it's really important to acknowledge that as community, we have always taken care of each other.
That's right.
We have always fed each other. Vas a las fiestas, hacen comida de más. ¿Para qué? Para que lleves un plato.
Yep. Como dice
like,
mi mamá, donde come uno, comen ocho.
Yeah, like we it's our culture. It's part of our heritage, our ancestry to care for each other in this way.
True.
Right? So like that is important to recognize that the way that we are doing our work is not new. We're just creating, we put a name to it and a structure and these things, but like what we're doing is not something that's like new.
Yeah. We're taking our traditions, our culture, and making it fit into this system, the traditional nonprofit system. Because that within itself, like we can talk all day about the nonprofit industrial complex and
Yeah.
the many dynamics there.
Yeah.
But that's what it takes. It takes for people like us to step in and be like, let's do this differently.
Yeah.
Let's do this by us, for us.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what it takes. So that's so powerful.
Yeah, and then the other piece of our, so there are food banks that carry Latino items, but there's not food banks that are 100% staffed by Latinos or led. So our board is all Latino. Our staff is all Latino.
Yeah.
Like the food that we bought, the food that goes out to our community comes from local Latino grocery stores. It comes from Latino distributors. It comes from a Latino-owned farm
So
and from local farms.
that's
So
where it's at.
100% of the money that we raise and we get goes right back into community. So talking about economic reinvestment, since we've been and operating in the past 2 years, we've reinvested $500,000
Wow.
back into our community.
That's so cool. That's
And I
what
think
it takes.
the other really cool thing about our program that really sets us apart is the joy and the celebration that we integrate because we book
right.
artists.
And you know what? That is key because like as somebody also that grew up with food banks and my mom, like she would always sometimes it hits your pride, right? Having to say like, yeah, I need to go to the food bank, especially immigrant parents that they're so
Son bien
proud,
orgullosos.
tan orgullosos because they're like, no, que no me vean, voy a ir al banco de comida. But this is different. This is more like you're saying. It's a celebration. It's a gift. It's a space for community. And by the way, we're feeding people, right? Right, and that's beautiful that you're doing. But tell me, how can people either both who need the help, who need the support, how can people get connected, and also how can people help do more of this? How can people support this? What's going on?
Yeah, I want to start with the support piece.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I think that's really important because we often look at nonprofits or these types of efforts and we're like, oh, someone else is going to donate. You know, like, oh, alguien más va a dar. And so we don't give.
Yeah,
And like, I also feel like people have this a perception that you have to give really big in order for it to make an impact, you know? And like, you can give $20 a month and that will have an impact.
right.
Like that will have like $20 a month buys medio costal de arroz, and that feeds 10 families. You know, and so like anybody can give whatever size gift money wise, and that will go a long way because we need everybody to contribute. You know, and don't leave it to people that you think have tons of money to give. Like all of us can participate. So people can donate. We actually today just launched La Cooperacha, which is our summer fundraising campaign to raise $20,000. So we just got our 501c3 status. So we're like now becoming a legit organization. And so we're raising money to pay for the things that our grants sometimes don't pay for,
Yeah.
which is the insurance that we need.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know running a nonprofit is basically like running a business,
Yeah,
right? You need to pay
bookkeeping
rent, you need to pay
services.
bills, you need to pay salaries. Like that's what it
Yeah.
takes to run an operation like
Yeah.
this. So yeah, what's your fundraising goal? What are you trying to?
$20,000.
20, you hear comunidad.
20,000.
We got to raise $20,000 for Alimentando el Pueblo,
Mm-hmm.
and people can go to alimentandoelpueblo.org and find out about
Yep.
how to contribute. Awesome.
Yep. There's also you're gonna see more stuff from our campaign because it's running through it's gonna run through August 15th.
Nice.
So people can donate money there. Again, you could donate any amount monthly or one time, and we'll it's all helpful. It's all utilized. So that's one way that people can support. We're really fortunate to have amazing volunteers. We have volunteers that volunteer at our food bank, and then we also have volunteers that volunteer at our celebrations, so our events that we have. And so there is a volunteer sign-up form on our website that people can access to volunteer. And then the other way they can support is like telling people about us.
Yeah. Spread the word, everybody.
Spread the word. Be like, yo, did you know that there's the only Latino food bank lives in Burien?
Yeah, one of a kind in the
Yeah.
whole country.
And it
Can
was
you believe
founded
that?
by the very community that it serves.
True.
I'm at the forefront of this work because of just my abilities, right? But the reality is that like I'm like maybe one of two people on our entire team that's bilingual, bicultural. The rest of our team are monolingual, immigrants, Spanish-speaking women.
And that to me is the key right there. The fact that it's being built by our comunidad, by our gente. We're learning to adapt to these foreign systems, to learn how to play that game right, like we're saying. And we're thriving in those spaces, and that's beautiful. And that's what it takes. It takes a village. It takes a community. So definitely go to the website, learn more about what's going on. Follow them on Facebook, right? You have social media pages.
Yep.
You can definitely keep up to date with what's going on and donate if you can. Aunque sea $10, $20, no? Every little, that's one thing I learned, philanthropy is such a foreign word sometimes. And we think about, philanthropy is the Bill Gates, the Rockefellers. But no, philanthropy is part of our culture. Like my parents showed me that, like, donde come uno, comen ocho, right? When people first arrive from wherever they immigrate from, there's always a support system to land in. And this is a great example of one of those support systems.
Yeah, and that's why we call our campaña La Cooperacha, porque we always be cooperando.
Right? Como una quinceañera, un bautismo. Esa es la cooperacha para el banco de comida.
Si quieren hacer una tamaliza, y para que los fondos se vayan a nuestra agencia, like anything, we're going to be rolling out more of our campaign. But there will be opportunities for a community to partake in ways that they're used to.
Yeah.
Right? Because sending someone a link sometimes doesn't resonate.
Yeah.
And so maybe it's like, maybe some of the señoras get together, hacen una kermés y lo que se recauda va a la agencia, O yo quiero hacer una tamaliza, o yo quiero vender gelatinas, o yo quiero vender, biónicos or fruta picada. Like, we want to meet people where they're at. And so we're hoping that people can activate what we already know in community to just raise funds.
Yeah. No, that we can do some cool stuff. So if anybody has any ideas, reach out, leave a comment, send a message, reach out to Roxana here, and let's organize some cool things for the community.
Yeah,
and while we're at it, raise some good money to do some good stuff, right?
Yeah, and we are having a big party on July 16th called El Tianguis.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite events.
Yes, from 12 to 4. It's going to be bigger this year because we're going to have like an art station for families and kids to partake in. There's going to be a food booth, music, huge. We're raffling some pretty nice items off to our community. And it is, it's our 2-year anniversary, but it's also a time to raise some funds for La Cooperacha.
Nice.
Again, meeting people where they're at because, they go to the tianguis and they pay $1 to get in. All right, then.
There you go. So that's a great opportunity to not just support the Alimentando Pueblo, support the work that Roxana is doing, but also support local Latinx artists and businesses, right?
Yes, last year our events reinvested $10,000 right back into the local economy through the support of our vendors at this event.
That's so awesome, yeah. And a great example, my partner, Teresa, I know she had a great time last year, sold some cool things there. She actually made a comment here. She commenting on our earlier comment, naps are life. That's
yes,
right.
Naps are life.
That's so true.
Yeah, but it's really awesome because El Tianguis bridges, when you go onto community, you're like, oh, this event is for like young professionals of color, or this event is for like English speakers. Like El Tianguis is really cool because you get such a wide spectrum of community. Because you get the young professionals, you get the bilingual, bicultural folks, but then you get the community.
Yeah.
You get the tias and the uncles and the students. Like, it's like, I was just really in awe last year at the event because I was like, wow, like this brought everybody together.
Yeah.
Like usually there's like events specifically for like people in la comunidad que hacen sus tianguis, And then we have our own pop-up markets, but this one was a really nice blend of both.
That's true. That was beautiful.
It was really cool. It was really cool to witness that.
No, I can't wait.
We'll see that again.
July 16th, you say?
July 16th, 12 to 4 p.m. at Lake B Church.
Nice,
where we
nice.
host everything because they have a building.
Pues ahí nos vemos el 16 de julio. Y si no, another one of your summer series every Sunday, you said?
Every Sunday.
Every Sunday at
rotation.
La Catrina / El Sirenito.
Atrás,
And then online, we'll see you at the speaker series every week.
Every week, you'll see us there.
Nice.
Every month.
Oh, every month. Sorry. Every month, you different topics. So tomorrow, you said tomorrow is the first one?
Yep.
Around faith institutions. What's a preview? What's coming up in those speaker series?
So the first one is around, belief, grounded in belief. The second one is, I'm trying to think. Oh my gosh, I can't remember the second one. There's 5. It's belief, it's youth, it's abundance, it's storytelling, and de tiro no me acuerdo la última. But essentially, like, we're amplifying and highlighting some really, really amazing organizations right here in the Northwest. but like how they're doing their work.
Okay.
Oh, the other one's grounded in space and place.
Okay.
Like, how do you establish home in the age of gentrification and displacement? Like, how do you reclaim land, and what does land stewardship look like versus land ownership?
These are some deep topics.
Yeah,
I
so
can't wait.
I'm really, really excited. The panelists are really amazing. They're majority all folks of color
Nice.
who are doing just amazing work in this region around these topics. And so it's really, but it's the how to. How do you how do places of worship transform communities? How do you reclaim land stewardship in the age of displacement and gentrification?
Nice.
How do you create a culture where young people lead?
Yeah.
Right, like all these things. And so yeah, I'm
Oh,
excited.
that's dope. I'm excited too. Can't wait. Once you have, feel free to share those flyers or information, and we're happy to share it here on the shows. I've been sharing flyers of upcoming events, and that's beautiful. Just promoting more cool stuff that's going on in the community, you know.
Yeah, because cool stuff does exist in our
Yeah, especially as we're coming out of this pandemic. Like we're not out of it yet, you know. So cuídense, lávense las manos, take care, get vaccinated if you haven't. There's definitely still a lot of. It's winding down. I know the support from government is winding down. So si no se han vacunado, vacúnense, por favor.
Yes.
Take care of each other. But as we're coming out of that, more in-person events, more gatherings, more being in community, because that's our community like craves that. I know I've missed that. So I can't wait to go to these events. I can't wait to keep on following what you're doing. You're such an inspiration, Roxana. You're such a role model for our community, and I can't wait to see where 5 years from now what Roxana's going to be, and what is Roxana going to be building more for our community.
Thanks, Jose. I also am really interested about what's gonna happen.
We're
in 5
all
years.
interested. We're all here for it.
I was like, me too.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah.
So many exciting things coming, so many cool stories to share. Really appreciate and honor your time here. And yeah, any last words, parting words for our audience, advice?
No, I think the only thing is that, like, as communities, you know, tenemos las soluciones a los problemas que nos enfrentamos. No tenemos que mirar hacia afuera de nuestra comunidad para buscar la solución o para crear los recursos. Like, somos personas que tienen la capacidad de soñar y de imaginar y de hacer manifestar esos sueños y esa imaginación. Y si ocupan ejemplo, Alimentando al Pueblo es un ejemplo muy frente al centro de ese tipo de filosofía.
Yeah, that's beautiful. No, I see.
Porque creo que muchas de las veces la gente espera que alguien los salve. Nadie nos va a salvar. Nadie.
Muy cierto, muy cierto. Todo depende de nosotros, todo depende de qué tan fuerte es nuestra comunidad, porque tenemos fortaleza en la comunidad. No sabemos o no lo decimos, pero somos el consumidor número uno de este país. No somos el productor número uno, pero podemos cambiar eso. Hay que cambiar eso. No nada más hay que ser consumidor. Hay que crear nuestros propios espacios, nuestras propias organizaciones, nuestras propias compañías para mejorar, no nada más nuestra comunidad, mejorar el mundo, ¿no? De eso debe ser. Y qué bonito poder compartir estas historias. Qué bonito tener a Roxana aquí el día de hoy. Y qué bonito tener a todos ustedes que nos están viendo aquí en vivo o en la grabación al rato. Muchas gracias. Les agradecemos desde la profundidad de mi corazón todo el apoyo que nos han dado, nos siguen dando. Aquí, Dani Ramirez, you said it right. Yes, excited to support these fabulous events, of course.
Dani Ramírez es el que hizo el logo de Alimentando al Pueblo y de la Roxy Productions.
Hey, guess what? He also made the Ni de Aquí Ni de Allá logo. So if you need your logo, hit up Dani over here.
Dani.
It's the best. Shout out to Dani. Well, thank you so much again, Roxana. Pleasure always chatting with you. Honor having you here on the show. And thanks everybody for listening. Have a good day.
Gracias, cuídense.
Bye.
Nos vemos.